Many would agree that as we age, history becomes increasingly fascinating. Despite spending countless hours studying it in school, there are always fresh and astounding facts that remain undiscovered. In this video, I bring to you a collection of historical events that were likely not covered in your school curriculum. Enjoy the discovery. Contrary to popular belief, Vikings were not the horned helmet warriors from Scandinavia we often picture. This stereotype, cemented in our minds, doesn't align with historical reality. Vikings, hailing from the early Middle Ages, 8th–11th century, were remarkable Scandinavian seafarers. Notably, they were among the first to set foot in America, establishing settlements in what is now Canada. Historically, Vikings wore plain helmets, devoid of horns, a misconception stemming from the 1876 premiere of Wagner's opera, The Ring of the Nibelung, where horned helmets were a theatrical choice. Contrasting with another cinematic myth, Vikings were often monogamous and journeyed with their families, not as lone warriors surrounded by numerous women. These seafarers were far from being uneducated savages. Many were skilled in painting, wood carving, and metal stamping. The Little Ice Age refers to a significant period of cooling that Earth has experienced several times, with the most recent one coinciding with the Middle Ages. This period began around 1330 and lasted until 1850, profoundly altering human life as people struggled to endure extreme conditions. European nations bore the brunt of this climatic shift, facing mercilessly harsh winters and unusually cold summers, particularly in the 17th century, when July and August witnessed frost, leading to poor harvests and widespread famine. During this time, a large number of animals perished, and in some European regions, birds were known to freeze mid-flight. The total human death toll, a combination of starvation, disease, and hypothermia, remains unclear. The art of this era serves as a window into these harsh conditions. For instance, George Morland's painting Breaking the Ice vividly illustrates a family attempting to extract water from a frozen body of water amidst an icy gale. Scientists attribute the Little Ice Age to a confluence of factors: a slowdown in the Gulf Stream, increased volcanic activity, and a reduction in solar activity. Today, we face the opposite extreme with global warming, a phenomenon that poses its own set of severe implications for our planet and its inhabitants. It's a widespread misconception that Napoleon Bonaparte was short, but this belief is actually rooted in a historical myth about the celebrated French leader. The origin of this rumor lies in a misunderstanding between French and English measurements. In English-speaking countries, Napoleon was perceived as short due to a miscalculation that arose when converting French units of length to English ones. English feet and inches are slightly shorter than their French counterparts. After Napoleon's death, his height was recorded as 5 feet 2 inches in French measurements, which is approximately 117 meters. However, this measurement was not correctly converted into English units, leading to an erroneous reduction of almost 10 centimeters in his perceived height. This conversion error is what fueled the myth of Napoleon being unusually short, whereas in reality, he was of average height for a Frenchman during his era. In 1518, Strasburg witnessed one of history's most bizarre epidemics, the Dancing Plague. It began when Madame Trophea stepped outside her house and inexplicably started dancing in the street. As onlookers gathered, many began to join her, dancing ceaselessly. Some collapsed from exhaustion, but resumed dancing after a brief rest. Within a week, the number of dancers swelled to over 1,000. Seeking a cure, the city authorities initially turned to contemporary medical practices, which often involved treating like with like, or resorting to bloodletting. They allocated a municipal building for the afflicted and brought in an orchestra, hoping music would help. When this approach failed, they turned to bloodletting, but this, too, was ineffective. Eventually, the authorities decided to transport the dancers out of the city, a tactic they also applied to new cases, effectively ending the epidemic. Intriguingly, the Strasburg incident wasn't isolated. Similar occurrences were reported in 14th century France, 15th century Belgium, and even 19th century Madagascar. The exact cause of this peculiar epidemic remains a mystery, though scientists speculate it might have been triggered by mass food poisoning from ergot, a fungus that infects cereals and contains psychoactive substances. Cleopatra VII, the final queen of Hellenistic Egypt, remains renowned as one of history's most enchanting figures. Unlike her Egyptian predecessors, Cleopatra had a diverse lineage. Her ancestor, Ptolemy I Sota, originally served as a key aide to Alexander the Great. In 325 BC, for his dedication to Macedonia, he was granted rulership over Egypt, thereby establishing the Ptolemaic dynasty that reigned for 275 years. The rulers of this dynasty, including Cleopatra, were Macedonians, a people traditionally considered ethnic Greeks. This makes Cleopatra a Greek of Macedonian descent. Despite her Greek-Macedonian roots, Cleopatra deeply embraced Egyptian culture. She became the dynasty's first ruler to learn the Egyptian language and routinely donned the traditional attire of Egyptian queens, firmly aligning her identity with Egypt. Her unique heritage and cultural assimilation have contributed significantly to her enduring legacy. Aqueducts, a hallmark of ancient Roman innovation, revolutionized the city's water supply and sewage systems. The inception of this transformative technology dates back to 312 BC. Recognizing their utility, Romans rapidly expanded their network of aqueducts, with most conduits positioned underground. However, when encountering ravines or pits, Roman engineers adeptly adapted by constructing above-ground structures like arch bridges, often layered, for added stability. One of the most celebrated examples, the Pont du Gard, stands in France today. Constructed from materials like stone, brick, volcanic rocks, and concrete, the design and execution of these aqueducts were meticulously planned. Roman engineers ensured a gentle gradient for the natural flow of water, employing various geodetic instruments like levels, angle meters, and odometers for precision. Archaeological discoveries have revealed that Romans laid a stone base before installing U-shaped pipes large enough for a person to access for repairs. To shield the aqueducts from debris and pollution, an arch-shaped roof was built above the pipes, and the structures were plastered, especially in moist areas, to prevent water damage. Additionally, drainage systems were integrated to manage groundwater. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to stay updated. Your engagement is greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.